Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today we'll be upgrading my NAS. Alright, so just a bit of backstory. This Mac Mini used to be my NAS. It's now this box up here. That box up here is, well, it's gonna be the NAS. Right now it's not finished, and that's what this video is for. This will be the replacement for my Mac Mini. And the reason for that is just because the Mac Mini doesn't have internal storage. It also just quit working on me for some reason. Not the Mac Mini's fine, but my 2TB hard drive that stored all my stuff, the dock and the enclosure for it just stopped working. The Mac Mini was super confused and I couldn't log into it at all. So that's kind of a problem when you have a server like that and you need to depend on it. So I want something that would be more dependable. So I got this, and there is already a computer in here. It's an old Dell Optiplex. Right now this isn't plugged into anything, it's not done yet, so we're gonna get this on the desk here, clean this up because it's kind of a mess, but I'll get on the desk, we'll put in some hard drives, and I'll show you how much space I'll be putting in here. Alright, so I've got the server sitting right here, and I'm going to show off some of the parts that I have right here. So first, we've got the SSD. Now this is actually not an SSD, this is just an adapter for an M.2 SSD. Now, here's the funny part. This is the SSD that will be going in the computer. You can see it's only 16 gigabytes, and you might be wondering where I got this SSD from. So I actually got this SSD from my old Chromebook. Now, the reason why I pulled the SSD out of it is because it stopped recognizing hard drives completely and the battery stopped holding a charge. That computer's essentially dead, unfortunately, and I'm not exactly surprised that that happened, but yeah, the reason why I'm going with such a small SSD, I could go for something bigger. Like, I do have options. I do have this 500 gigabyte hard drive that I could use for the boot media, but I looked up the minimum requirements for the OS I'm using, which is FreeNAS. This is overkill. You only need 8 gigabytes of hard drive space in order to install FreeNAS, and this is a 16 gigabyte drive, and it loads the OS from RAM anyways, so no reason for me to use something that's that big just to load something that sits in memory. So 8 gigabytes, this is double that space at 16 gigs. This is perfect for me, so we're gonna use that. I'm gonna actually need to pop in the SSD into here, so it's actually fairly easy to get in. There's a tab here, you pull it, comes apart, and there is the drives that you can put in here. You can see there's the smallest size, then there's the bigger sizes here. This sits right here in the kind of the middle. So let's see if I can get this in here. There we go. And I'm gonna need to screw it down, of course. Technically I don't have to because the drive enclosure will hold it down. Like it will, if I just do this, it will hold this down. But I'm gonna screw it down anyways, just to be safe. I basically have a 16 gigabyte SSD right here. So I got these screws that I need here. I'll just open up this bag and get them out. Some of these screws are for the external case to keep it closed, and some of them are for just holding the SSD down. I know exactly which ones are which, so. Yeah, the build quality of the adapter here is actually really nice. It is all metal, like you can hear, that's all metal. So I really do like the construction of this. It's the Sayrent M.2 to SATA adapter. And yeah, after that is done, it basically just looks like a regular SSD. And that's basically what this is now. It's just a SSD. Now, let's go into the more important parts here, and that would be what drives I'm using. You can actually see them right here. This is a Seagate Barracuda 8TB SSD. Now, this is a Seagate Barracuda 8TB hard drive. Now, I didn't just buy one of them. I have two 8TB hard drives. Now, the second drive is not actually, they're not both going to be used for storage. Like, I'm not going to have 16 terabytes of storage. One of them is going to be a direct clone of the other one. I don't know which one, it doesn't really matter. They both will have the exact same information on it, meaning if one dies, I still have everything intact. That was the problem with my other solution there. You can see right here, there's a problem with this because that doesn't have extra space. I don't have another 2TB drive to put alongside that. So that's what that is for. So what we're gonna do is get this reopened up, and we're gonna get this fully ready again, except with all the drives in it. So I'm gonna need to unscrew these panels here, obviously 4 screws on both. So I'll get to that really quickly. But what I'm going to do first is swap these panels out, and I guess I'll do that last because this side actually has a dent from shipping, and that's the side that's going to be facing outwards. This one does not, and they're both replaceable. You can put this one on this side and the other way around. So that's what I'm going to do. I only paid like 40-50 bucks for this case, including shipping. So it's not a bad case. I actually made a community post about it too, so you'll probably know that already. So yeah, let's get this thing opened up, and I'll show you the internals because I haven't shown you these yet. So we've got the case here. Let's get this unscrewed. And this actually doesn't slide off, it just pops off like that. And you can see the back of the board right here. This is the entire motherboard. It barely fits in here, which I find is kind of cool that this all fits in here. And you can see what kind of board it is based on the I/O plate. This is an Inspiron 620 that I put in this case. These 620s are actually very compatible with other cases. They don't complain at all when you switch cases on them, even if you use the 5-pin power on the front. It does not care. It's really convenient. That's what this computer is going to be based off of. The only thing that I'm worried about is it's probably going to complain that there's no back fan. And I do actually have a fan right here that I can use. I pulled this out of a different system. It is compatible with this board, so I should just be able to use this. And what's really cool about this motherboard is if let's say the power supply dies, I can pop in a new one. This just uses regular ATX. It's really, really convenient. Anyways, let's move on to taking this panel off, and I'm gonna take off these screws because these are a pain, like I said. Cool. So you can see I actually already have a hard drive in here. This was just a temporary thing just to do some testing with the case. It works fine, so we're gonna take this out. Now, here's the thing I am actually very worried about here. I need 4 SATA cables. You won't think that because I only have 1, 2, 3 drives, but I actually am planning on using that 2 terabyte drive in here as a scratch disk. So I'll need all 4 of them. So I'm gonna need to find some SATA cables and see what I have. Thankfully, after doing some look around and pulling some cables out of our PCs, I do actually have enough cable to pull off this project. So what I'm gonna need to do is get these cables in. Some of them are shaped differently, so I'm gonna have to do some strategizing. Like this one here is really short. I'm gonna use this one for the SSD, and this one's really long. This is gonna be used for something that needs a lot of cable routing. I don't know where all these are gonna be used for, so I'm gonna have to figure that out, and I'm gonna need to figure out, I mean, it doesn't really matter where cables are gonna be plugged into what, because they're not all gonna be in use right now. Can you please stop doing that? So we're gonna need to get all these cables plugged in here. So yeah, let's get that going. So we've got the server plugged in here. Well, not plugged in, but we've got the monitor plugged in. This is going to auto power on because that's why I left it to before this, but we're going to power it on now and see what, wait, I need a keyboard. No better time than to bust out the meme keyboard from the garage sale yesterday that I got for 50 cents. Here we go. Power this thing on and get this thing into the setup, at least like the BIOS. Yes, I'm using a 4:3 aspect ratio monitor. I think that's just easier. So, yep, right here. Oh, it's not seeing one of the drives. That's not good. It literally could be just something as simple as I forgot to plug in the SATA connector for that one. So those are the hard drives making that noise. Dang. There we go. Now they're both there. So 16 terabytes of total storage. Seems like we got it. So we're going to need to, the BIOS version, it's all the way up to date. I've checked all that. So it's probably just going to throw an error immediately saying your fan does not exist or has failed. Yeah, system fan failure. That's kind of a problem. Now, you can skip this, but I don't know if there's any way to, like, you can just press F1 to continue. It's not something that's fatal, but it will prevent the system from auto-powering on in case there was a power outage or something, and I don't have to hook up a keyboard and a monitor to get this thing to boot up every single time that happens. So we're gonna have to pop in this fan in here and see if we can get this to go away. This is the correct fan. This, I think, actually came out of the same Dell, so it probably will be happy with it, but... So... here's the TrueNAS setup. I called it FreeNAS earlier. That's what it used to be called, but they changed the name. So we're going to install it. And let's see. So select one or more drives which TrueNAS should be installed. 7.3 TB. Okay, so 14 gigs, 14.5, which is correct. I did. Oh, wait, what? It just starts over? Oh, there we go. Right, yeah, fine. Okay, well, that was fast. That was only 3 minutes. Please reboot and remove the install media. Okay. And reboot. So I got everything configured. I would to put it on camera, but it had a lot of passwords and different things. So got everything configured, and I'll show you how the web view looks like when I'm done actually with this. Yeah, what we need to do is get everything back on. I've already screwed in one screw here just for now, just because the panel was falling off when I was trying to sleep last night because the lights on here were like shining through. This is misaligned, so we're actually gonna take this screw off and push that back. So yeah, I've pretty much got everything. I was gonna put the 2 terabyte scratch disk in there, but I've ultimately decided against it just because the server, I could put it in there, I could cram it in there, but with the amount of times I've had to redo jumpers and different things, I just don't really find it worth it anymore to keep trying to do this. Now, I actually was considering buying another one of these cases for another system that I would be building, just like a little small PC that I could use for like PC games or whatnot, but I've ultimately just decided against that. This case is kind of annoying. Maybe I'll buy it, maybe I'll give in if I get a smaller board, because this was really designed for mini ITX cases, or mini ITX motherboards, my apologies. With that in mind, it might be better for that, but I still don't really find that this would be easy to use at all with the mini ITX case. So I've got the other side panel here. Let me turn this around so you can see the other side. But yeah, you can see this case was literally designed to fit a mini ITX case, though it is compatible with my micro ITX. That's why I have it in here. Look at that. The clearance is like not there at all. So yeah, it's just, they worked with what they had really. So theoretically, this is done, which I'm happy about. There's that little dent right here, but since I moved this cover to the back, I'm not even gonna see it. So gotta be really careful with this, especially because now there are 16 terabytes of drives in here, plus a 16 gig SSD, but I'm not counting that really. You gotta be super duper careful when picking this up. Yeah, I didn't record that because that would have been a pain, but yeah, put back up here where it needs to go. And yeah, the only things I'll need to do, and unfortunately I forgot to explain this earlier, I still could not get a fan in here, so I'm gonna have to press F1. I'm really hoping I don't need a motherboard for that to bypass, because if I don't, it's still gonna be fairly easy. I can just plug in a keyboard, press F1, and get in through there. So that's what I'm hoping I can do, but we'll have to find that out first. And no, unfortunately, this port does not work because the motherboard does not support it. I could get a USB 3 card if I really cared enough, but that would have made the drives not fit. And it's a server. I didn't even need really any of these ports anyways, just the power button. So now you can see how much of a rat's nest it is down here. And yes, I will be cleaning this up. Probably like right now, this is really bothering me. So unplug all these cables here. So that did shut down the Airport Express, which is fine. It's sitting up there somewhere. You can see I have this little wall adapter here. Unfortunately, there is no surge protector, so I will be putting one there. I might make it a bit more elegant and add surge protectors that plug into both of these, because they do use both plugs. Come on, out. So yeah, I might put some surge protector. I probably will put surge protectors here and here, so then this actually is protected. But for now, I'm just gonna plug it into this power strip just to give it some more extended like range. I'm not gonna probably plug anything else into here for safety reasons, because I don't wanna overload the plug. But maybe I've got an idea. What I'll do maybe is just pull this up here, because here's the thing, the Molex cables do not reach unfortunately. So, and this cable actually is fairly long, so I'll use this one. But yeah, get the power supplies and all these bricks out of here as well. I'll be back once I get rid of some of these cables and move them out of here. So let's get these cables run up here. Now, people probably noticed back here, these boxes aren't just decoration. I put them up for mostly decoration, but it's not just for decoration. I actually put most of these up here to hide cables and other things. So let me pull that back because these kind of pushed. So yeah, these aren't just for decoration. They're also just to block off different server cables and things. Like all these cables are running behind here. You can't see them because of how the boxes are arranged. So that's one of the reasons why I do that. It's not just for looks, it's for hiding cables. Speaking of cables, let's get this Ethernet cable plugged in right here. There we go. And run this behind the boxes. Knowingly enough, off camera, my Apple Pencil box just fell off when I was trying to get this cable routed, and this is a pain while holding a camera, speaking of which. Push this back behind here. So yeah, looks a lot nicer because the cable, you can still obviously see the connection into it. And I might move these over here, so then that completely blocks that off, but I also don't want to block off too much ventilation because the only fan that is in this computer is the CPU and the GPU, or the power supply. So there's no case fans or anything, which the BIOS is going to complain to me about, which is stupid, but you know, whatever. It's Dell for you. But I guess it makes sense. These are probably not expecting you to transmit their boards into other cases. So here's the Airport Express. I'll probably just have this sit, and let's plug this in. I want to be able to see the status, so it's probably just going to sit right here. So yeah, I think that will look good as long as I can get the cables back here, and I'm going to do that off camera, so we'll be back in like 30 seconds. It is time to get this server back up and running. So I've got the Airport Express here, server there. This is the first time I'm plugging it in for actual serious use. So let's get it plugged in. It's actually, now I think about everything's already plugged in. Just gotta flip the switch. There we go. This light is orange, which makes sense because it still has to boot up. Yeah, look at that. Server is up and running. See the blue light here. This is what I was talking about, how annoying that light can be at night because it's just like poof. Whatever. Now this is not going to auto boot. Like I said, that's actually what I'm actually going to hold off on booting it right now. I'm going to let it sit on that screen because this needs to boot yet. You can see it's still got the orange light there. It's still trying to boot up. So I'll let that sit, get its internet connection back, and then it will start transmitting that connection back over to the server. So it has to refresh because it still thinks we have this one in here. We don't, so forget. There we go. You can see Internet Airport Express. This is good. And like I said, this won't auto boot because of this stupid thing here, but that's okay. Plug in a keyboard, press F1. I can't tell if that did anything, but server should be booting now. I don't hear anything, but that's because it is an SSD. It's not like I'm going to hear any hard disks churning or anything because it's not booting from those. So yeah, let's hop onto the computer and see if we can get a connection. So you can see we are on the network pane here. I'm just waiting for the server to come online. And there it is, right there. So let's see if we can connect to it. I should be able to. I'm gonna save the password in my keychain. And there it is. There's the files. There actually is nothing on here right now. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna transfer the files over here. Yeah, I can hear the disks churning in there though. It sounds really cool. But 8 terabytes of space that I can use compared to the 2 terabytes before, which is now locally connected to the computer right now to transfer everything over. You can see how much space I actually had left. I actually had a decent amount left, but the biggest thing was just not having a backup for any of it. That's why I'm happy I got everything shifted over to this server. I just got to copy everything over, and then I'll have a direct backup of everything on the server that I care about. So, and yeah, the reason why I also just went with an upgraded amount of storage space is because I know for a fact I'm going to use all of this eventually. So I was just future-proofing just so I wouldn't need to worry about it. I could have gone with 2 2-terabyte drives or 2 4-terabyte drives or even 2 1-terabyte drives for the time being. But I didn't want to worry about accidentally screwing something up or messing, or running out of space even. So yeah, so that's why I went with just these, because I have several 1-terabyte drives. And I have 2 2-terabyte drives I could technically use. I want to have my server be decently sized. That's why we have 8 terabytes here that we will be using. So yeah, we're going to get to the copying process, and I'll be back when it is finished. We'll get everything organized, get all the cables and stuff done with, and then we'll wrap up the video there. So yeah, that's about it for this video. If you liked it, then click the like button, and if you like the content you see on this channel, click the subscribe button. And now, for the first time ever, click the join button if you feel that you want to support the channel. This is a new thing. I will not mention it again just because I don't want to be in your face kind of thing. I don't want this to be super annoying. If you guys want to help support the channel so then I can continue making what I'm doing, and it would fund more equipment, it would fund more projects. So yeah. For $1 a month, you get members-only polls, which I haven't even done these kind of polls yet. There's still going to be regular polls. No, if you don't want to do this, you're perfectly fine not to. Nothing's changing. It's going to be just the polls for deciding what videos are going to be published next, which I haven't even done any of those yet. So that's going to be up to members, but otherwise polls like if a video should be 1 part or 2 parts, which I've done before, those will stay for regular users, and other polls for other random things, those are also just for regular users as well. So you're not really losing anything if you don't want to become a member. It's just some little perks that I put in there if you want to. And if you do, then thank you, but again, like I said, not required if you don't want to do it. Yeah, otherwise, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.